I would like to welcome you to this series of videos for completing our project World Capital City Quiz. As we left last time, we're going to create a class, actually do all the implementation, creating database and inserting the data and so on. And then we're going to create a database from external to view all our data. We'll call this one SQL database. Helper process. Call it any name you want, but very important here to use the SQLite Open Helper. And okay, this one here. Now this is going to give us errors. The errors because this needs some implementation for the class here. So we can go in here and implement methods. We take the first as the implementers here. There. So two methods, one on create and one on upgrade. Just in case when you create database, on upgrade, just in case you need to change the table or upgrade the table. So it means the new any versions. The other thing is going to need here as a constructor. So if I come in here and say create a constructor, make sure you use the first ones here. So that's, and this, all the errors disappears in here. So look at this one. We're going to deal with this as we go along. First thing we're going to need is to create the database name. So we're going to call here private static string and call the name database. Give the name. The name, for instance, choose a name for database, and I call it, for instance, capital city quiz database. So DB, that's what the database is. The other one is create the version for that. It's private static. Make sure that's a final. So I'm going to say final. I'm going to call it final for instance here. So we don't need actually to hit anything. Call it final. Here it is, and same things here. I'm going to call it final static. Of course, the version is integer, so I'm going to call it database base and call version as version, and give it a number started one. So create these two variables in here. The other thing is we need to create a variable, make it easier for us to set the database. So to create the table, we need to do that. So we can go private, file, static, of course, static, SQL is a string, and I'm going to call it, for instance, SQL create table, SQL create, because it's a final. That's table. To create a table in SQL, all you need to do is create table, and the table name just as we've done it here in the quiz contract. The table name is it's called Capital City Quiz. That's the table name. However, than this capital city quiz is the same. We created the database is the same things. Rather than quiz, I'm going to call it world capital city. So let me go to where world capital world capital city. So make sure they're different from the other city. So world capital. So the create table, which is capital city quiz. What we need to do, look at that's all static, so we can access directly, and they are public. So I can access the table, question table dot, and using the variables name. But in order to get the question tables, we have to use the quest contract to get the question table. Doing that, here it is. So what you do, for instance, plus, then put this one and delete it here. And what we can say, here it is, table, I'm going to say there's a quest contract, here it is, quest contract dot table, question table dot table name, here it is. But here's again, if we do all of these, that means we're gonna make it long for this. So what we need to do, we can remove this one. To do this, we need to import. We can say just ask because of the package name ac.adu. So I'm gonna say import. Import. So it's ae dot ac dot dot adu dot and then dot quiz contract. So this one. So there's no need for doing the quiz contract because that's imported already here for us. So I can move this. So I can move here. I can access the question table straight away directly like that. All right. So if I do this once here, the question table is part of the quiz contract is here. So because of the imports here, rather than doing the quiz contract, and I say I have to get all of this here. So that's actually remove the here. So I say remove everything for here. So that's the table name. In order to do this, and then what I need to do, I need to open the bracket. So open the bracket is a plus. I can say this. It is very important to get this right. With a space here, for instance, here has a space, and I can say, and I'm going to do definitions for the other ones. The first one, if you remember, in the quiz contract, the first one is the question, option 1, option 2, option 3, and the answer number, which is these are the variables or these the attributes we need to map to this our table. So I'm going to go a question, set this, same things, question, the question table, and make sure we're going to go for the ID. The ID does give us actually, it's called the primary key, and the ID is always an integer. So I'm going to say this, and I'm going to put space, this is an integer, and it's primary. This is very important to write this here. Primary key auto increment. Auto increment. Like this. Alright. Plus that one. Then we define the other one. So we can get a question table in the same order. Question table. This dot. As what we need after that is actually the column questions. Look at these ones. That's what we need to do. Is column. It's called column questions. So we can go column questions here, and it says give me the column questions, which is this one. And the column questions is going to be a text. So I can say this a text. All right. And we need which one? This text. Comma, of course, and with space here, because I'm going to call it. You have to get this absolutely correct, otherwise we have problems with this one. So that's a question table as well. And now we need to do the options. So that is option 1. All right, and the option 1 is text as well. Okay, comma here, a plus, and I'm going to do same things here. So question option 1, option 2, and option 3. Let's do this once here. It is. So it's option 2. That's option 2. And 2. It is. The same things. It is. As option 2. And of course, let's move this one. Make it same orders. And of course, we're going to go to the one. Which is this question, and that's option 3. That's option 3. And the last one is the answer number. Because that's what we have here. Plus, and we're going to go here, and I'm going to say this question table dot answer number, which is column answer number. All right, and of course Thus, we have to define that as an integer, as it says here, as an integer. And that's the column answer comes as a column answer is going to be an integer. That's only the name. That's the name of the columns here. So, of course, the answer is an integer. So, I'm going to say this one for me as an integer. So, and of course, after that, we need to close the bracket. To close the bracket, I can do it like that, or you can add you can do this here, and you can say plus close the bracket like that, and that's done. Now let's make sure that if that table actually it can be created, we can debug it now, and we can see we've done everything correctly. The other one, that's for creating table, and now we need another statement which let's make it easier for us for destroying the table, just in case we need to destroy the table. So I do the same thing here, private, final, static, and I'm going to call it SQL, delete table, delete, and I'm going to call it table. To delete the table and the SQL, it is very simple stuff for it, and I'm going to say drop table. If exists, just in case it doesn't exist, if exists, and we're going to say what is the table name? It is the same things plus it is table name. We know is a questions. It's a question table. A questions. It is. That's. It exists. Public static, of course, that's a string. Yeah, string. That's why it's here. Yeah, string. It is plus, and we're going to say a question. Question. Question table dot delete table name. That is table name. What is here? Right, and that's sorted. So then all of that. Just one thing is here. This one is the primary key. So that's we're not going to deal with that at all in our queries. Reason for that, that's a string. So that's here. String like that. This and that's sorted. So I've got of this. These very important. So that's creating the database. That's the version of the database in here, and that's for creating a table. And of course, we need to make sure I'm going to debug this one to see if this correctly or not. And this one for destroying the table in case. Now, we got the constructor here. The constructor. There's no point putting all of these here because all these variables is going to go to all of these here. They're going to go to the super. So let's remove these ones there, and I'm going to come to name. I know the name of the database. Name of the database is so we will call that one. It's called database. Database name. Factory. Of course, we're going to need that. I'm going to say this is null. It is null. As we're going to use now version. What the variables called. As database, it is database version, right? And that is sorted in here. Now, what I'm going to do before I create, I'm going to make sure this statement is done correctly, because you have to type this one perfectly correctly. So these spaces are important. So if I move this one, for instance, put it here, I can see, and all I can do here, for instance, I can say this system. System. Print ln. I'm going to say creating, or I'm going to just print it. I'm going to say print for me SQL. Create that table edit. Right, and make sure that actually comes correctly. Learn the program first and see how that's is gonna behave. So if I can click here, for instance, here it is, and see what's that going to give us. Start the applications here, wait for it, and we'll see. Maybe I'll pause the video until this runs. Now this is completed now, the run program. We'll start this one here, and we'll go in here and say start quiz. That is start quiz. So giving us all of that. What we need to do, we can go to run here. That's been created for us. Right. Looking at these ones here, of course, so that's the shield here. One thing actually we missed in here, we didn't call the class here. So calling the class, let's install this one here. We can come here and we can create a class. We can go because we've got main activity calling the quiz activity. So we can go in the quiz activity here, and we can create the call to that one here. So I can say SQL. It is SQL database helper. It is. Let's call it for SQL helper. Equal new SQL database helper. It is. Right. And we have to say the context. It is. So I can say context here. That is. Text, and we see it's the context in here, of course the context here. Alright, of course it's questions in here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to use this, which means the quiz activity. So I'm going to say just this, and that will sort that for me. So now I can run it. So soon this is going to start when I click on the main activity. Then I can go to the quiz activity, which is the second activity or second screen. That's going to call the SQL helper, creating an object pass to this one, and this we're going to call the, of course, the word new is going to go to, of course, to the constructor, which is it is, right? So of course it's going to print the statement for us. So we're going to make sure that statement is working properly. Now run the program here, and run the program, and we're going to check on the build first. It's building it, and then we're going to go to the run, and I can see the statement is printing actually the proper SQL statements. Make sure that should be absolutely correctly this one typed, otherwise database doesn't have a table, doesn't get created and cause problems for us. So it is. So what I can do, I can go on run, that is run, and I started the application started here. When I click on start quiz, right, it's here. So we can see it is create table quiz. We have problems here. So ID, we have to say ID is an integer, right? There's no space, so that's going to cause problem for us. Now we've got the question. The question is a text. And then we need a comma here. So the comma is missing as well. The question text. Option 1 is text. Option 2 is text, and option 3, and of course the last answer number is integer. So we have two errors. So we need to put space here. The space here. So that's the space. There it is. And the second one is this one is fine, and there's a comma missing here. So what do you do here? Put comma, and that should work. Right. So we can stop the application and we can run it again. So that's how we make sure it's working. So I'm going to run this one again. Yeah. It's going to take a bit of time. That is. So that is done. So you could run here. Run has started. Right. When this came online, that is. And we say wait. That is the applications. Run here. When I click on start a quiz, and then we see this one now. Look at the create table. Create table. Capital city quiz. That is. The ID is an integer space, which is a primary key. auto increment, comma, question, text, option 1 text, option 2 text, option 3 text, answer number is an integer. So that works perfectly here. So I can remove the system out here. So that's absolutely correct. Now, what we need to do, here it is here, in the database, SQLite database, what we need to do, we need to create a variable attribute in here, this of SQLite. SQLite, like this, SQLite Helper, which is similar as SQLite database. SQLite, SQL, similar to this one here, right? Because what I'm going to call it here, SQLite is called database. This, and we'll call this one, for instance, DB. So DP here, and let me change this one as to DB as well. So all we can do here, like this, I can say this DB equal DB. Right? Now, what we can do, here it is. What I'm going to do, I'm going to run and create the table here. All I can do, here it is, I can say DB execute SQL, and I'm going to say create table for me. Rather than printing all of this, all I can say, put this one for me. So I can say SQL, SQL database, create table for me. So that will create a table for me now when I run the program. This is automatically, so that I don't need to call this one. Automatically, the SQL built in, the SQL open, lights off. When I create an object, this object is going to create the database, the table for me. So automatically call the on create. So we don't so exclusively to call this method. Of course, this we're gonna complete putting all the data in and so on. For the update and upgrade, this is old version and new version DP. So we have to destroy the database, and if you want to upgrade, we can destroy it and so on. But we'll do that in the next video. Thank you very much.